welcome back to the channel. My name is Katie, and if you saw the title of today's video, this weekend your girl has been doing some digging and a bunch of researching, and I found what I think are some very interesting things that will probably make this case kind of implode on itself. Not that it hasn't pretty much already imploded on itself, but I think it's gonna get really interesting to see what else is coming. At this point, is all of this, the juror wasn't the right person? Like, I'm kind of looking at this and going, is this just PR? Is this just trying to spin positive PR? Because we're seeing more and more stuff come to light with this, and more evidence is coming out that they probably have no leg to stand on. However, because it deals with Virginia courts and we haven't yet heard from Judge A on this, it's gonna get really interesting. Now, we know this jury situation with this juror and whether or not they lied about their age. We do know this is not the only discrepancy that they're trying to claim, right? They're trying to claim that, well, this should be thrown out because they needed to show that Amber acted in malice, and they didn't. That's what Elaine is saying. However, when you crap in somebody's bed, I don't know that you get any higher reports of malice. So we're gonna jump in and I'm gonna show you guys what I have found. But before we do, guys, if you are new, please make sure and subscribe, hit that notification bell if you like content like this. Also leave a like, leave a comment, everything works. And guys, yesterday I hit 45,000 views in one day. I am just, every day it's just going up and up. I'm insanely grateful. I went from like the day before I made $4 and then yesterday I made 20. And I was like, what happened? I'm so excited. So excited. I did not expect to build this quickly. So thank you everybody for all your love and support. Also guys, I'm several different colors because you guys know I've been doing some light therapy, and then yesterday I did like an hour little hike by myself, and it was at 1 o'clock and I didn't realize, and I'm not real good at ever putting on any beauty products, including sunscreen. And I don't know if you can see here, but like the tip of my nose is really red. And so every time I giggle, it kind of hurts. So, and you guys know I giggle through this. So as I'm doing this, if you hear me giggle, then everybody calm down. I did not laugh. I gotta not laugh. That's another thing real quick I wanted to address. I've had some people who seem like they're a little bit maybe offended about my laughing about all this stuff. Guys, I'm not trying to laugh at victims in any way, shape, or form, and I'm not trying to laugh at the concept of people being mean. For me, I look at it this way. This whole situation is so ridiculous that all I can do is laugh through it. This is a coping mechanism I have of mine in life. This is just one thing that I do. But another thing is, it makes me furious that we've heard nothing about Jeff and Elaine. We've heard nothing, and this is all we've heard about. As a result, this all just seems like, when it comes to just one big silly media circus, I do think good has come out of this. This has really brought a lot of awareness to different types of domestic issues, especially with men. I do think good things have come out of this. I understand why people are interested. I'm interested in this. But at the end of the day, we don't hear about Jeff and Elaine. We don't hear about what happened to those kids. We don't hear about the list. So until then, this is all stupid to me. This is just silly. But let's go ahead, let's dive in, and I'm going to show you guys what we have found that could blow this thing wide open. Also, guys, you've seen this in probably some of my videos recently. Sometimes the sound will cut out for just a few seconds. This is just me and my laptop on OBS. It's like screaming at me. I don't know if you can hear it. We're trying so hard. So please just keep being patient, and I do appreciate it. So, okay, let's dive in. So, as we know, the big thing is Elaine is saying, well, one of the jurors, the age is incorrect, right? So this person is supposed to be 72, but they're actually 55. Now, there are some discrepancies that I have heard about this. So for instance, did this juror intentionally lie? I put out a video where I was talking about this, and I got a lot of flack for it, which is fine, guys, because here's the thing. I'm not just going to go by one side or the other. I am never somebody who's just going to go by popular opinion, which gets me into a lot of trouble. I challenge popular opinion, and I challenge popular narratives because I'm a Gemini. Wait, is that a bug or my hair? Anybody else do that? I'm a Gemini. I'm an air sign, which means we're all in our head, and I'm constantly playing devil's advocate and weighing information. Now, the reason I do this, and the reason I like to do this, is because the more sides I can see to a situation, the more wisdom I can ascertain, the better actions that I can take. The more I can learn about something, learn about myself, learn about the interactions of the world. How can we make this place better? So I'm always weighing information. And so one thing I think is really interesting is, what happens if the juror intentionally lied? In that case, how would that fall into this? And from everything I'm seeing, it sounds like, and what it looks like from Virginia, from their court system, is that at the end of the day, this is on Elaine. This is on Amber's people or Johnny's people to vet these people properly. The court system has a way of vetting, but they also have an even tougher way of vetting because they're trying to figure out what is the best course of action for their client to win the case, right? So that's kind of how I see this, and that's what some of the conclusions I've kind of been coming to. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a silly spectator giggling at all this like you guys are. But I did, like I said, I found some really interesting pieces of information because one thing is, okay, well, how much information did Elaine and did the both sides have when it comes to these people? Did they have the age information? And the answer is yes. So then the question is, during vetting or during the trial at all, why was this not brought up? So let's take a look. So this is from The Real Laura B. So Laura Bakov, she's been on Twitter. Also, she has tons and tons of, I dove into her Twitter, fantastic information. So just kind of heads up if there's somebody that you want to look at. I'll go and pull this up. And it says from the courthouse, it says, the court should investigate whether juror 15 properly served on the jury. On the juror panel list sent to counsel before voir dire, the court noted that the individual who would later be designated juror 15 had a birth date of 1945. Juror 15, however, was clearly born later than 1945. Publicly available information demonstrates that he appears to be born in 1970. And it says the discrepancy raises the question whether juror 15 actually received a summons for the jury and was properly vetted by the court to serve on the jury. And it says for the Virginia Code, and it says properly provides that at the time of assembly for the purpose of juror selection, the identity of each member of the jury veneer shall be verified as provided in this section. Prior to being selected from jury veneer, a potential juror shall verify his identity by presenting to the person taking jury attendance any of the following forms of identification: his Commonwealth of Virginia voter registration card, his Social Security card, his valid Virginia driver's license, or any other identification card issued by a government agency of the Commonwealth, one of its political subdivisions, or the United States, any other valid identification card. So basically, somebody's going to have to vet with ID. It says, thus, the court clerk's office. And it says, thus, the court clerk's office had a statutory obligation to verify the identity of juror 15, but because juror 15 was not born in 1945, it appears his identity could not have been verified through any other means of identification for the code provides. And it also raises questions about whether and how juror 15 could have signed a statement affirming under penalty of perjury that he was named juror if he was 25 years younger than the person the court recognized as juror. I do find it interesting in this that they in any way, shape, or form want to bring up perjury after everything Amber has said and done and all the crap that's come out with Amber. Anybody find a little interesting? Pot meet the extreme kettle. So stupid. Okay, although the Virginia Supreme Court had previously construed the VA code, and it says requiring the jury panel to be made available at least 48 hours before trial, to be directory rather than mandatory. It is observed that adherence to the provision code is required to the extent necessary to ensure due process, and this is from Butler versus Commonwealth. Therefore, follows the adherence to this specific code is necessary to ensure due process, even if it's viewed as a directory rather than a mandatory statute. So then this is what doesn't make sense to me. So if they had that information available, right? They have all of this information. Why did nobody say anything until now? But then it raises some other questions. I would assume Depp's team knew about this too then, right? So is everybody sitting on this to use in their back pocket? But then let's weigh this. So remember, whoever juror 15 is a real person, right? And there is, it could be looked at as discriminatory or mean to be sitting there and saying, well, this birth date versus what this person looks like doesn't match up. Well, what if that person just looked really young for their age or really old for their age? Then the other part is that Elaine is saying, and this is like some other information that I read, okay? When it comes to all this, you have to provide documentation as to who you are, and also like when you sign in for different things like questionnaires and different things online when you're a juror, you have to sign in partially with your birth date. So this person, it sounds like on some level, whether or not it was intentional, was putting in the wrong birth date. However, how do you and that's where I've kind of wondered what exactly is going on with this juror. And I'm not trying to scream there's a blank theory going on. I don't know. But if you're consistently, knowingly putting in the wrong birth date, what does that say? Does that make sense? So that's where it's like, okay, the wrong juror was summoned. I got that, agreed. But then where does the responsibility more fall on to have those checks and balances? It sounds like it's both, but more so the lawyers, that they need to do more checks and balances, which is the whole reason they do voir dire, right? So in that case, why was this not brought up to now? And is this enough to actually get an appeal overturned? Or, this is another theory, is this a warning shot for what's about to happen with possibly the UK and the Australia cases? This is going to get so interesting, guys. Like, I'm just getting enthralled in this, and this just feels so silly. But we have more information that's come out. And this is from Vashtiv. It says, Fairfax also sent out questionnaires each year to 55,000 randomly selected potential jurors. And then by further random selection from that initial group, a jury pool is summoned for service and required to complete another questionnaire prior to voir dire. The questionnaires are made here. So let's look at some of that information. It says, the attorneys for each side might also ask you some questions. If the judge concludes that you may not be able to make a fair decision, you'll be asked to step down. Another prospective juror will replace you. After the judge decides that all potential jurors are qualified to fairly and impartially hear the case, the bailiff will give the list to the attorneys. Each side will remove 3 names from the list. They do not have to give reason for removing these names. If the amount of the claim is under 15,000, the final jury will have 5 members. If it's more than 15,000, they will have 7 members. The remaining jurors then swear that they will hear the case and give a verdict they believe to be true. The trial then is ready to begin. As well, it says how challenging a juror works. Let's go into that. The attorneys have the right to remove a certain number of prospective jurors from deciding a case. There are 2 types of challenges. Challenges for cause. An attorney can challenge a person's right to sit on a jury for cause if he or she is not qualified to sit on a jury, either because that person does not meet the basic qualifications, is not competent, or is biased and cannot be impartial. Well, wouldn't this be not meeting basic qualifications if it's the wrong juror has been summoned or the wrong person shows up? So wouldn't they be then challenging it at that time? And it says, bias can be actual bias if the juror admits in some way that he or she cannot be fair. Implied bias is when the juror has characteristics or prior experiences that make it unlikely that he or she can render as an impartial decision. Generally, there is not a limit on for cause challenges. Interesting. It says preemptory challenges. A preemptory challenge is used when there is no reason for cause to exclude a juror, but an attorney does not want the person to be seated as a juror. The attorney does not have to give any reason to excuse the juror when using this type of challenge. However, there is a limit to the number of preemptory challenges an attorney can make. Generally, an attorney is only allowed 3 preemptory challenges. Interesting. Okay, last one. Civil trials in circuit court in Virginia require 7 jurors who must agree unanimously on the outcome. The Constitution provides our right to trial by jury, and jury selection is controlled by statute. On the day on which jurors have been notified to appear at court, they are selected randomly until a panel of 13 is achieved. Thereafter, the judge and counsel for either the plaintiff or defendant shall have the right to examine under oath any person called as a juror. Their questions are intended to ascertain whether such a person is related to either party or has interest in the case or has expressed or informed any opinion or is sensible or any bias or prejudice. This is called voir dire. If, as a result of the questioning, counsel for one party believes someone on the panel of 13 people is unsuitable to be on the jury, a motion is made asking the judge to strike person from the panel for cause. If the judge agrees and strikes such a person for cause, then a replacement is randomly selected to take that person's place. After the judge is satisfied that all 13 members of the panel are suitable, each party then makes their preemptory strikes. Each party is entitled to remove 3 of the 13 people from the panel, leaving a total of 7 jurors to decide the case. This process occurs when the plaintiff's lawyer and defense counsel alternating preemptory strikes with plaintiff's counsel going first. Okay, so what's the bottom line here? The bottom line is that it looks like from everything we've seen, they had a list well in advance. Elaine is saying we needed 48 hours in advance. You had a list well in advance to be able to look over all this information. So once again, why did this not come up in court? Okay, let's entertain they missed this detail because age discrepancy, right? Okay, maybe they don't want to be ageist, that sort of thing. Again, I'm not siding, I'm just playing devil's advocate. If this was a big enough issue, it should have been brought up at some point in court. With how much media this got, with how much media attention, with how much they were able to talk to the media at any single time, why was this not brought up? And that just leads me to believe they knew this ahead of time. This is my opinion. They knew this ahead of time and had it in their back pocket. But could we argue the same for Depp's people? In saying that, there's no real reason to say it, but it just, again, the legal process is exhausting and infuriating and kind of fascinating. And you have to wonder when they're going through these selections how strategic people are. But at this point, we're going to have to wait and see from these motions filed what Judge A has to say about all of this. And we know Judge Penny don't play. Judge Penny don't play around. So I think this is probably not going to go anywhere. But I'm still really interested to see exactly what happens and see what kind of legal jujitsu they're going to try. What do you guys think? Do you think that any of this is going to go anywhere? Do you think that Elaine is spinning her wheels? This is just PR. Do you think they can actually get this overturned? Sound off in the comments, let me know. And also, if you like this video and you'd like to come and giggle with us about how silly all this is, make sure and subscribe and hit that notification bell. We would love to have you every single day. And leave a like, leave a comment. Everything helps. Guys, thank you so much for allowing my channel to grow and be so successful recently. I can't thank you enough. Me and like my 5 colors of body right now, and my dresses and my bras that don't fit, and me giggling through this. I'm just insanely grateful. It's nothing but love and appreciation and gratitude for all of you, and I'm just so excited to see what comes of this channel, and then I'm excited to see where this goes and what we can giggle at. All right, guys, take care. Lots of love, lots of blessings. Till the next video, I'm giving everybody hugs, kisses, stay safe, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.